Welcome back to Sports Court. I'm Tamara Holder. A sweeping sexual assault lawsuit has been filed against the University of Tennessee. 6 women who are remaining anonymous for now allege the SEC school violated Title IX laws and created a hostile environment for women on campus by showing, quote, deliberate indifference to sexual assaults by student athletes, specifically football players. Joining me now with more on this story is sports reporter Julie DiCaro. Welcome, Julie.
Hi, Tamara. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. This is a very, very detailed case and a very serious case. I want to ask you a broad question to start. Do you think, based on all of these things that are coming to light, from Jameis Winston now to the University of Tennessee, that we need somebody to come in and clean house like a Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders of sorts? Because this is clearly a separate world for athletes versus a world of the rest of the student population.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a perfect world, that's a great idea to have. I just don't know practically how that would ever happen. You know, these schools make so much money from their revenue sports programs, be it football or basketball, that I just don't know that there's any way effectively to have anyone do that.
So specifically with regard to the University of Tennessee, what I found very interesting about the story that I didn't know before, they have a totally different and unique system for their student athletes if there's a Title IX investigation at the school. It's not like any other school in this country. And what the lawsuit states, I want to bring up the screen for our viewers, it states that athletes knew in advance that UT would support them even after a complaint of sexual assault, arrange for top quality legal representation, and then direct them to the Tennessee Uniform Administrative Procedures Act hearing procedure that denies victims the right to a hearing and to the same equal procedural hearing and process rights as given to the perpetrators of rape and sexual assault. Just summing that up, Julie, basically there was a trial that went on here and the accusers were able to the accused cross-examined these victims. How is that possible?
It's crazy. It's nothing that I've ever heard of happening in any other university. I think Tennessee and the state of Tennessee is the only state in the country that allows this to happen. And that's the basis for the whole lawsuit. Title IX ensures equal access to benefits at universities that receive federal funding. And so what the allegation is saying in the petition is that the system was weighted in favor of the accused based on this weird system that Tennessee puts into play.
And another thing that's shocking about this whole thing is that the University of Tennessee would hire lawyers, a very prominent lawyer in the area, to defend these men against these accusations as if this was a criminal trial and they got the best attorney in town. What does that say to the taxpayers? This is a publicly funded university.
Right. It's unclear to me from what I read if the school was, openly paying this guy or if there were sort of benefits going on under the table kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's like, you get accused of something and your school hires Johnny Cochran to come in and defend you while the victim is sitting across the table or the accuser is sitting across the table by herself. So it is definitely a system that is really unfair. And I don't think we're going to see this continuing in Tennessee much longer.
The accusations also stated that the administrators knew about this for many years, and they did whatever they could essentially to help cover it up, and also not only cover it up, but wait it out until the men had transferred other schools, and if they transferred, they got glowing recommendations to their other schools. So do you think that the idea that there was a delay, an unreasonable delay, is in the Jane Doe's favor?
Well, it's definitely not in Jane Doe's favor. I mean, from the allegations, it definitely looks like the school sort of pushed these guys around. I know in one case, they sort of shifted the case from department to department in the school to make sure that that football season was over by the time they started having a hearing in which they found that sexual assault had possibly occurred or probably occurred. The victim is, just put yourself in the victim's shoes. She's sitting there, she's making an allegation against a football player at a university where football rules everything. And she's having to sit there and watch the coaches talk about what a great guy he is, and it's got to be very tough to be a victim in that situation. I think it's tough enough to be a victim in any sexual assault when the person that you're accusing is not famous. But to sit there and have, everyone talk about what a great person this is when you believe that this is what's happened to you, that's got to be really tough. And I think it's why a lot of these people allegedly dropped out of school.
Yeah, and we have to wrap after this, but I just have one quick question. A lot of the times when we talk about these stories, it usually happens when the girl is at, or the young woman, if you will, was at a party, a football player party, an athlete's party. There's alcohol being served. And it seems like a lot of people blame the victim. There's a lot of victim blaming. Well, you shouldn't have been drunk. You shouldn't have been there. You should have known better. What do you say to people who say that?
Well, it is just that. It's victim blaming. And it's saying that women cannot act in the same way that men act without being responsible for what happens to them. I mean, how hard is it to go to a party and not rape someone? I mean, men do that every day.
And then you
no
get a
matter
trophy.
how much alcohol is being consumed.
And then you get a trophy at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's exactly that. It's victim blaming. It's expecting things of women we don't expect of men. And it's completely absolving the men who take advantage of these situations from any responsibility for their criminal actions.
Correct. Well, I really appreciate your time on this story, and it seems like this is just the beginning. So we'd love to have you back to discuss it further.
Thanks, Tamara.
Thank you all for watching. Sports Court is adjourned.